So this video is basically to show you how to do data cleansing. We have a bunch of data that we picked up in the field and it is unclean, so we need to go through, sort through what's good, sort through what's not good, and potentially change some of the polygons that we're going to use for training our supervised classification. So if we look at the entire Cal Poly campus, this is kind of what we see. And this is the data that we collected for Lab 5, which was the field collection lab. So I've got NAPE imagery on and back here. So we've got 4-band NAPE imagery, which we can sort of zoom into, and we see we have pretty good resolution actually. So the spatial resolution on this is pretty good. What you'll notice is that in some of these cases, some of these polygons maybe aren't in the right place, or there's some spatial inaccuracy. Here's a good example right here where we've got this one polygon that was started over here, presumably, and the GPS got confused and thought it was way over here, and we've just got this really long, skinny polygon. So that's obviously not going to be great. In other cases, the spatial accuracy is off a little bit, so we just want to get the best possible polygons. For some of these, like this green polygon here is supposed to be around grass. It's obviously around other things besides just grass. There's another example here with the pools where the GPS accuracy just isn't that great, and so tried to trace some of these things, but didn't trace them very well. So the plan here is to essentially sort out the stuff that's not so good, get only really good samples, and then use that to train a classifier. So the way we would do that essentially is first to make a copy of the polygon. So you can get the polygon from PolyLearn, and I will put the link up for that. But essentially you can go figure out where your data is. So in my case, I've got it on my OneDrive folder on my local, and I can just grab the folder here, and I put that in to my catalog to find that actual polygon. So that's actually this one right here. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it. So you can see it says copy at the end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this edited, so I know that it's been changed, and I bring that in basically. And so you can see it's got a different symbology to it. What I would like to do is make the symbology the same. So actually what I would probably do is change the colors on this so that it matches the other one. So what I would do is I would change the symbology. You go to categories, unique values, and you change the value field to land cover T, add all values, and this shows you all the different classes that we collected out in the field. You can do properties for all symbols, and I would just create hollow, maybe make them a little bit darker, like 2, and then I would change it to colors that made sense. So bare soil you would probably want to call, show as brown. Buildings, in this case, let's make those white. Grass, let's call that light green. Other, call that pink. Pavement dark, actually can stay as black. Pavement light, let's change that to gray. And then under tree canopy, let's do dark green for that. So then, in theory, these colors should sort of represent what they're look like on the ground. So if I do that, turn that on, I'm going to turn the old one off. So you can see now I've got my land cover polygons edited. I can open the attribute table here. I've got 222 selected, and this is sort of what it looks like. So what I'd like to do here is actually just go through these and start deleting them, start changing them, and cleaning the data up, basically. So what you would do is you would go to your editor. If you don't have this, you would customize and tools, and you can turn on your editor toolbar, which will be this toolbar here. So you can say toolbars and make sure you have editor checked. If you do have it checked, it'll pop in here. You can say start editing. I want to just get my land cover polygons edited, the one that I just created, the copied version. Hit OK. turn on the fishnet, actually, the grid, and just go through this cell by cell, where you can just start up at the top left and just move your way through. I'll do a couple examples here so you can just see kind of what I'm talking about. But like, for instance, this long sliver of a polygon here, that's not good. So sorry, Marshall, but your polygon's gotta go. And delete that. And yeah, so in this way we can kind of go through and check these things out. So for another example might be like this one here. This is supposed to be bare soil. It's got a little pavement in it. It looks like it might have some tree in it as well. But if you double click on it, you can see the vertices pop up in green, and you can actually edit the location of them relative to the image. So what you can do is you can just say, let's just remove this. So it in fact only does have bare soil in it. And then, yeah, then you're good. Another one was like the pool, for instance. Right, so let's look down at the pool, and we can just kind of tweak it a little bit so that it works with the image. So we're looking at the nape imagery now, but it doesn't have to be nape imagery. You can look at the plan of the imagery, Landsat, Sentinel, etc. You can delete vertexes, right? So you can delete some of these. And yeah, and you basically just need to go through and just make sure you've got enough sample polygons that are going to look right, that will accurately represent the land cover classes that we're trying to show. And you need a few of them. So I would say you need at least 5 good samples for each land cover class. In the case of water, like this one, we probably actually don't have that many because there's not that much water on campus. But you just kind of look here. We'll just get this one done, and then I'll kind of move through and just show you. Okay. This can be a little slow and tedious, but just kind of bear with it. I don't know if it's faster to just move them or delete them, but let's just start with them. Okay. So you can kind of do that for as many of these polygons as you want. For this one down here, maybe that's too much. Maybe I'll just delete that one. Just delete it. Sorry, Ian. If I look back here, I can see that, for instance, this polygon here is an other polygon, right? This pink one, that's all other. So like Ian took one that says it's the track, right? The track is kind of reddish, and it's got this green grass in the middle of it. So it's kind of 2 classes in one. I would probably get rid of that just because it's a little bit difficult to determine, is that grass, is it that red track material? Just get rid of it because the grass itself there is pretty good. There we go. Okay, Grayson got the grass, but like it's got some weird vertexes there, so we gotta just delete that vertex, delete that vertex, and now it actually is kind of accurately capturing all of the grass. You can see there's a slight offset here. It's not a huge deal. But once you get to a place where you're happy with these polygons, and a lot of these are just going to probably just be deleted, you're going to want to save your edits. So you'll say stop editing, save your edits, yes, and then you'll look again and see how many of each of these you have, so you can kind of look in your attributes table. You can sort it by land cover class, right? And we can actually summarize that too. So we can just say, let's just summarize to land cover class .dbf, and that'll give us a table that'll just show us how many of each of those. Oh, that's because I'm editing. No, I'm not editing. Let's try that one more time. So summarize. Oh, it's because I was in a geodatabase. Okay, that's why. So land cover classes. Don't put the extension. Don't put the .dbf on there, and you should be okay. 68 buildings, 18 bare soils, right? 14 under tree canopy. So this is more than we need, and especially for like the buildings. There's too many of them actually, so we should get rid of some of the buildings. So what you can do is you can select it. So you can say select by attributes. For the edited, land cover equals building, right? So land cover equals building, hit apply, and then all of those will be selected. You can zoom to selected, right? And there's buildings all over the place here. Some of these are good, right? But then obviously like some like this one, something got kind of out of whack there. That's not right. So let's start editing again. It's the edited polygons, that's fine, right? But so we can just select here and say like that one right here, we don't want that one anymore. So just delete that sketch. It's better if you just get rid of them. If they're off, if they're really off. And then some of these are actually probably misclassified too, right? So this is part of the process, is determining kind of what. Oh, okay, this is an interesting one. This is a parking structure. So it is kind of a building and also kind of pavement. In this case, we'll look and we'll just say, you know, this is actually pavement light, and that's actually true. That is light pavement. It's also a raised building. So we'll just keep it as is because that actually is accurate. You can see down here, there's a lot of little polygons here. Don't quite know what those are. Okay, so Marshall's stacking up some points here, and there's a lot of those. They don't really line up with the imagery. Let's just get rid of them. Let's do delete sketch. Delete sketch. Button, and that'll get rid of them too. That one's too small. This one's kind of weird. You could also get rid of really small polygons because they're not super helpful, and there's a way to do that as well. So if we stop editing, save our edits, yes, right? And you can say, all right, I want to add a field. Let's make it a floating point, and let's call this area meters squared. Okay. Over here, you can say calculate the geometry. So this will calculate the area. In this case, we want to do square meters. Hit OK. That's fine, and that should populate this with area square meters. You can sort that, right? There's all of these are under 1 square meter, right? So they're tiny. Let's zoom in real fast. See it. Oh yeah, there's one down here, so right. So those are just little lines essentially. There's a table, a street lamp, a Mustang news dispenser. So they're too small essentially to be useful. And so actually a lot of this stuff is maybe too small to be useful. So what I would do is essentially, you know, your pixels themselves are 1 square meter in this case. I wouldn't use anything that's probably smaller than 10 square meters. So I could actually I would just get rid of all of these. So I just start editing again, edited polygons, hit OK, yes, that's fine. I've done 3 separate editing sessions, but that's fine. And you can just delete the selected ones. So you say get rid of all of those, basically. And now we're down to 200 polygons, right? So in this way, you can go through and just clean your data. Like a lot of this stuff just needs to be cleaned because, you know, in some cases it's not right? In some cases, like, it doesn't make sense. So these are 2 patches of dirt. Like this one right here, right, is a baseball field, which is true, but then it's also kind of bare soil,